Thanks for joining me for this edition of the Church Security Answer Man. I have a fun story for you today about a tiny little win for church security. This occurred at my own church. It's not a big deal, but it's a fun little deal. So let's get right into talking about it. We've been we have some cones, some orange delineator cones, 3.5 feet tall, somewhere in there, that we put across our driveway during the week, because we have kind of a U-shaped parking lot, or there's a couple different ways to get in there. And the big trucks come in there, and our pavement is not that thick, and it kind of cracks the pavement and stuff. And so we put cones in there. And that was a decision of the pastor, by the way. You're going to know by the end of this story, my pastor is very pro-security and keeping things secure around the church. So we have these cones up. Well, over the last few months, we've lost a few of them. People pick them up. I've seen kids that just grab one and walk down the street carrying it on their shoulder. And so we finally got tired of it. I talked to the pastor, and we agreed to get some of these little Airtags, little Apple Airtags, and put those on the cones. So I taped them inside with some Gorilla tape and attached them, and we set them up on my phone. And so we thought, if somebody does take one, then we'll be able to track it. And I was thinking pretty much it's kids that's doing this. And so I expected, if we lose one, it'll be somewhere here in the neighborhood, and then I can at least go get it wherever they dropped it off. So I come into the church the other morning, and sure enough, one of the cones is gone. So I jump on my app, my Find My Stuff app on my Apple phone, and it tells me that this cone is about 13 miles away in a completely different city. And so I want to show you. Then what I did was I looked at our video. Again, our pastor is very pro-security, so we have great video cameras up. We got the Apple Airtags installed in those cones since we were losing them. So we have a couple of great devices. You never expect a plan to come together just perfectly, but it did. So when I realized this was going on, the cone was 13 miles away. There happened to be a police officer parked kind of catty corner across the street. I asked them to come over and talk to them, and I started a theft report. It was kind of, hey, it's kind of a simple thing. What do the cones run? About $50 these days, and because they're a little bit bigger ones. And so started the report, and I gave them the actual address. My phone, when I looked up where the cone was, where the AirTag was, it gave me an actual address about 13 miles away in a different city. So the police began to work on that, and sure enough, I also looked on the video, and we had a great video of them also taking the cone. So we knew it happened at 4 o'clock in the morning. And let me play the video for you, and just so you can see. And by the way, these people that are taking the cone, if you're sensitive, you can hear this stuff. You might hear a couple of foul words. So just make sure there's nobody sensitive that's watching this, or turn your sound down if you don't want to hear it. It's really hard to hear, but you might be able to detect it. So let's take a look at this video of them actually stealing the cone out of our driveway. You'll see them here pulling into the driveway right beside the cone, stopping. A little back and forth discussion. It even sounds like there's a kid in the back seat maybe yelling, "Run, run, run." See her get out, retrieve the cone, throw it in her car, and then the video goes into other segments. So I don't have those segments. But the cool thing is I was able to track exactly where that cone was. Unsuspecting to her, that cone was up, the Apple tag was up inside of that cone. And if you, during the daytime, you could see where I taped it, because it's black Gorilla tape. So it kind of showed through the orange color of the orange plastic of the delineator. But at nighttime, you certainly couldn't see that. So So I was able to get the address, gave it to the police. By the way, the police were shocked. They were actually shocked that it was giving me the exact location of that AirTag and where that cone probably was. So they went to work and began their processes and contacted somebody there at that residence. And I don't know what the conversation was about, but what I understand is they talked to a male at that address, and he would not say who the females were. That sounded like there was a female probably driving this car, and he wouldn't say who the female was that took it, but he admitted that he knew where it was, and he actually brought it back after his conversation with the police. He actually brought it back to the church and placed it back where it went. So that was a awesome deal, a little win for church security. And by the way, in that process, a little other side story is they actually committed a little, sounded like a hit and run, and one of our other cameras saw that, where they hit another section of a business, little planter box, mess that up a little bit, maybe a trash can as well. We could see that on the video footage and hear it more. And I'm not sure where that's going, but it actually seemed like maybe there was another crime. I hadn't inquired yet with the police on where that's going or if they determined that to be a crime, but it looked like it was, as they were fleeing from our church. So, you know, it's a great, if you put these little things together, piece it together, what could you do? You don't expect them really to come together. In this case, hey, all the pieces, the camera, the AirTags came together, and it made for a nice recovery of our stuff. And I'm not sure where the criminal prosecution, that kind of thing, will go from here. But it's a cool little deal when you put these pieces together to try to protect your property, retrieve your property. And those AirTags, we talked about them before, could be great for you to put on musical equipment or other things that might be stolen. You know, stuff them up inside somewhere and tape them in there that you would be able to get back possibly, or be able to track it. And here in this case, you never know when you're helping your community. You know, a cone was stolen, and I was talking about it, and the reality is they committed possibly another crime. And if we hadn't had that AirTag on there, they wouldn't have known who it was. The cameras, you know, we might have been able to enhance it and see a plate on the back side as it was leaving on another camera that I didn't show you an angle of. But the reality is that we were all not only solving our crime and recovering our property, but we might be having helped our community as well, because other things were happening. So you never know when that happens. And I also thought, you know, if the police wanted to, they could have written a search warrant to get the cone back if they really wanted to. And maybe it was a house that they were interested in, and it could have been a tool for them to use to get in and see other crimes and those kind of things. But that's my former police mind working. So thanks for joining me for this edition. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And I also put a link down there about the AirTags. If you want to take a look at those, you can get right to them, the actual ones that I'm using. Thanks again for joining me. Hey, take a look at this next video. It's the next one that would be great for you to watch in your church security journey.